How do we know if something is defective or not? It depends on the purpose for which it was created. If it cannot fulfill its intended purpose, it is considered defective. If a camera cannot take photos, it is clearly defective. However, it would be unreasonable to complain that the camera cannot write, as it is not its intended function. Similarly, when we look at the universe as a whole, we must understand the purpose of creation before we can label any events as defect. In clear terms, the purpose of life is to reflect the names of Allah in the world and for conscious people to understand them. We learn these names through the contrasts which are given in our universe. For instance, recognize the feeling of satiety by experiencing hunger. Similarly, we learn about light through darkness. If there were no diseases, no one would know what health is, would they? I find the opportunity to read the names of Allah in these contrasts. If there were a system in the world where I couldn't understand the names Shafi and Razzaq, that would be a real flaw, as it wouldn't align with the purpose of creation. Every illness and trial is like a letter with a message for us. It reminds us of the realities that we often overlook. For instance, when an earthquake strikes, we realize that we live comfortably every day without being shaken, and we have the opportunity to be grateful for this. In this case, we cannot even call an earthquake a defect. Let's agree that we often fail to recognize the true value of some things until we lose them. We should not forget that the negative aspects of life, such as illness, trials, difficulties, and disasters, make up only a small fraction of the world's overall experiences. We can understand this when we compare times with and without earthquakes, the diseases we have survived and those we have caught, the people who continue to live during the day, and the people who die. I believe we can understand that the things we perceive as evil may have a valid reason for existing in our world. Now let's address the question of why these things we see as evil even exist. For example, Shaitan is believed to be responsible for causing people to sin and even end up in hell. Why doesn't God prevent such a being or creation? Isn't the creation of Shaitan and the spread of all evil in the world a cruel decision for mankind? Ustad Bediüzzaman provides the following explanation on this subject. The creation of evil is not evil, but the choice of evil is. Let's illustrate this with an example. Fire is one of the most important discoveries of our time. Thanks to fire, we can provide basic needs such as warmth and food, but at the same time we can also cause a large forest fire. The intention of the person who discovered or produced it was not evil. Fire can be used for very good purposes, but it can also be misused to burn forests. In this case, the person who discovered fire cannot be held responsible for its misuse. So what we call evil is not related to the producer, but to the user. Can we say that the creation of evil itself is evil? I don't think we can say that either. Yes, many people go to hell because of their choices, but maybe that wasn't the creator's intention. Perhaps it is the result of our own choices. It is not logical to completely disregard the will of man and blame the creator for all of this. Allah gave human beings will, taught them right and wrong, and left the choice to them. In this case, it is the individual who is responsible for the consequences. Some may try to justify themselves by saying, I was destined for this. This is a misunderstanding of the concept of destiny. Destiny is not Allah writing a script for us to follow. Rather, it is His knowledge of our decisions, the path we will take, and our choices regarding the past, present, and future. Individuals cannot absolve themselves of responsibility by blaming Allah for their own choices. Most of the evils in the world are committed by human will. So what could be Allah's purpose in allowing these evils? To understand this, we must first understand humans' position in the world. We are here to make progress, to reveal and develop the potential that Allah has given us. For example, angels are always worshipping, aren't they? So why do they not ascend in honor despite their frequent acts of worship? Because they are not in any environment of struggle. What then constitutes the elevation of a person's rank? Struggle struggle. In other words, the first rule of ascension and development is struggle. Diseases, calamities, persecutions, trials, shaitan, and the nafs are not what actually bring us down. They are what raise us up. The most important reason Allah allows these trials is that we are in a testing field. Indeed, we are all in a significant test. In this exam, there are both right and wrong options, and everyone answers according to their capacity. No one can interfere with anyone else during the exam. If there were no wrong options, it would not be an exam, and those who work and those who do not would not be distinguished. If the wrong options were intervened and prevented during the exam, it would be a great injustice. The existing order in the world is the best system established by Allah. Allah teaches right and wrong through the Quran and Sunnah. He guides people on what to do and what not to do, and He gives warnings in many places. However, He never removes human will. Imagine if Allah always prevented people from intending to do evil. Imagine if Allah always prevented people from intending to do evil. The test would disappear, and both evil and good would be on the same level, which would be the greatest injustice. And what about the guilt of the innocent? Will these cruelties go unanswered? In such cases, we should analyze events in depth, not superficially. Some trials must affect society at large. If nothing had happened to the Muslims, everyone would have become Muslim, removing the mystery of the tests. Therefore, the innocent also have their share of these difficulties. We should see them as lessons to be learned and tests to be endured. As difficult as it is, we should not view these situations solely from a worldly perspective. We should consider both the worldly and the hereafter gains equally. First of all, we should not doubt Allah's justice. Let our trust in Him be complete in all circumstances. It is difficult to achieve perfect justice in this world. The place where it will be fully realized is the hereafter. All difficulties erase sins as long as we remain patient. Those we see as having lost happiness, peace, and comfort in various adversities may be preparing for eternal happiness. We would not be so upset about sad events in a film we know has a good ending, would we? Because we know the facts, we interpret them with a broader view. Similarly, we can view the troubles of innocent people from a broader perspective, considering the infinite nature of the hereafter. Let us also emphasize the oppressors will not go unpunished. The punishment for some crimes may be too great to be met out in this world. Allah sees and records all of this and leaves it to a great court. Small cases are resolved in small courts, and big cases are resolved in big courts. The day that great court convenes will be the day when oppressors tremble with fear. Those who seem to have lost in this world will be the winners of eternity, and all the difficulties they experienced will be forgotten. Now let us re-examine everything we see as evil in the world. Let us read the messages they convey, learn the lessons we need to learn, and understand why these things happen. Do not doubt Allah's power, mercy, and justice. There will surely come a day when no one's rights will be left unaddressed. Until that day comes, endeavor not to deviate from the truth. May Allah be with us in both hardship and ease.